What's going on, everybody? My name's Alonso. Welcome back to the channel. A couple of videos back, I did a POV weaving video and it got a lot of really good feedback. So guess what? We are gonna do another one of those today. I've built out these little 2x2 wood frames so that I can do a little weaving experiment to be announced in the next YouTube video. So if you don't wanna miss that, don't forget down there to subscribe. So anyway, I've got these little 2x2 wood frames with some legs, and we're gonna be doing some weaving inside of them. As you can see, some of these are already done, but two of them are yet to be woven. So I thought it would be really cool to show you guys a POV walkthrough of a couple of really cool weaving patterns. So I'm not gonna talk very much. The only thing I will say is if you are new here, we do a lot of Treenet weaving stuff on this channel. So if you haven't already, don't forget for the YouTube algorithm to hit that like button down below and subscribe if you haven't already. Most of the viewers on this channel are still not yet subscribed, so it would really mean a lot to me if you just hit that button down below really quick. It's free, it costs you nothing, and it helps me out a ton. So thank you guys for doing that. Now let's talk about the patterns we're gonna be doing today. So up first, I really quickly want to do a quick POV weaving video of what is possibly the most popular pattern out there. And it's got a lot of different names for this. I actually made a video for this a long time ago, but it needs some refinement to stay up to date. But basically what it is, it's a bunch of triangles that go along a corridor column kind of thing. And you weave some filling through that to make a really cool, like, triangular shaped pattern through it. So we'll do that in one of our frames. And in the second frame, we're gonna do a really tightly woven dream catcher, which looks really, really cool. I'm gonna stop there and I'm gonna throw on the GoPro on my head and we are going to weave away. Now I will say it is a bit hot in here, so there may be some background noise with the AC and stuff. So I do apologize for that in advance. But anyway, let's get to it. And last thing before we start weaving, if anybody is looking to get their very own paracord, use my code Treenet at paracordgalaxy.com for a 10% discount. You're welcome. Now let's begin. Here's our frame. And the very first net we're going to weave is that nice triangle pattern. So we're gonna make just 2 columns here, maybe 3, so 1, 2, 3 rows, columns going up and down. We're gonna weave some triangles in it, and then we're gonna fill those triangles and bend them in a way that it looks really, really cool. And we are going to fill this one with green. So let's get started. So for the columns, I like to do double paracord because I'm going to be clove hitching to those columns and I want to make sure it's a little bit reinforced. So I want to make sure that I can double it up. And we'll cut it about right here. That we could have a little bit left over. So here goes our first piece of cord. Put the knife right there. And we will go here. Now, I like to start now with a constrictor hitch. It's a little bit of an extra step, but makes it super bomber. And then finish that off with a little barrel knot so it's not going anywhere. I'm gonna come slide that back a little bit, make a little column here. Make it nice and tight. This is important. It's gotta be nice and tight. And then we come back here and boom, we've now got a doubled up column here. And again, we're gonna do a barrel to finish this off here. cool. So that is column number 1. We'll bend this one this way to make a tiny little column here. We'll do a second one of those right here, and we're gonna fill those in and make 3 little like rainbow arcs here. So let's fill this first column. So I'm gonna cut a little bit of a longer piece of paracord. Column's kind of thin, so it doesn't actually have to be that long, but maybe like 3 arm lengths or something. And here we go. So we're gonna start right here on this piece of paracord with a constrictor hitch. I'm gonna move over here. I think the shadow will be less distracting because it's distracting me, so I can only imagine what it's doing to you guys. Tie our little barrel there, and now we're ready to go. So like I said, we're just gonna make a bunch of little triangles going back and forth here. I'm just gonna clove hitch it every time I hit this. So this one's probably gonna be kind of boring to watch, but you can fast forward through this part if you want to. And I'm just gonna throw on a little bit louder music so you can enjoy that. And we will get back to this soon. It's actually kind of tricky to weave in a little frame like this because it slides around pretty much everywhere, which can be kind of annoying. So you'll see I'm making the distance of my triangle bases pretty short because the more I have here, it's going to be kind of hard to close this up. And you don't want your foot to fall through this when you're weaving on an actual net. Of course, this is a dummy net, meaning no one's actually going to walk on this thing, but still, it's good practice. So this column's actually ending up a little bit thinner than I would have liked it to be. I probably could have gotten away with making this like over here, and then it would have been at a bit of a more desirable width, but it is what it is, and we just gotta roll with it. It's still gonna look really nice though. I don't doubt that. part's a little tricky because we got a giant knot here, so I'm just gonna make it a little bit wide here. Go to the end of the knot. And I'm actually just gonna do a little double wrap here. I'm not actually gonna hitch that just because it's a little bit weird there. But that finishes all of our triangles here, as you can see. Now we're gonna weave a line through them. Depending on how wide your column is, you might need to weave multiple lines across, but we're just gonna do one. So we're gonna go here really quick to get it nice and centered. And then here's the trick to this part. So, in order for it to look nice and pretty, oh, I got a splinter there. Anyway, in order for this to look nice and pretty, we need to stay consistent. And the way I like to think about this is when we're coming into a triangle, you want to go toward the point. So when we cross this strand, we're going to twist toward this point here. And when we cross this strand, we're going to twist toward this point. And when we cross this strand, we'll twist toward this point, and we'll just keep switching that up. You got to make sure you get that right every time. Otherwise, it's going to look a little bit off. But it's kind of like this. So you could do a single full wrap all the way around if you want to. But most people do a double wrap, because there's more surface area and it looks a little bit cooler. So we're gonna do double. You could do single, you could do triple. It's really up to you. It's all about creativity and whatever you want to make of it. But everyone's been doing this pattern, so I kind of just want to keep it consistent there. Normally, if I was doing this myself, I would just do it one time. I think 2 wraps in the same direction is a bit overkill, but I will admit it does look super pretty, like a kind of like a candy cane pattern. I think that's what some people call it. Yeah, and you want to make sure too that while you're doing this, that you don't lose tension, because you're not tying any clove hitches or anything all the time until you hit the perimeters. So you really want to make sure that you keep the tension and that it stays nice and tight, because it's easy to lose tension on this one. And we'll finish it here. Tie a little barrel. So we used too much cord here, but that's okay. We can cut this and use the... And you know what? Just to add a little bit of contrast, we're going to use a different color now. Okay. That should be enough right here to make a doubled border. Cut that, and we're gonna do it. So this one we're gonna go about right here. Again, we're gonna make a constrictor to start. Finish that off with a barrel. Cool, now we're ready to go. Let's go over here. Making this nice and tight. So I want to make this one a little bit closer to this side, because I know this looks smaller than this right now, but when we bend this, it's going to make like another pretty even columns, I would say. We're going to find out. So we'll finish this off. Also do a barrel here. these barrels a little bit tighter. There we go. Cool. And now we do the same thing that we did over here, and this one's gonna be a little bit bigger hopefully, so I think if we use the same amount of cord on this one, we'll actually get not something this long. Oh, I blinked there for a second. So let's get some cord. Okay, we'll do like 2.5 arm lengths on this one. Okay. So this one I'm gonna start here. Same thing every time that I start a piece. I'm gonna do a constrictor, and then I'm gonna finish that off with a barrel. Oh, this one's just gonna be long enough. Oh man. If I can help it, I don't like to get myself in these sticky situations where I barely have enough cord, because then it just takes longer. Like you see, I'm struggling right now. But now I feel like I can do it. There we go. That was a little bit of a challenge, but we got it. Okay. And here we go, triangle away. So now ideally, if you did the first row of triangles right, you're just gonna hit in between every single one of these. So we hit there, we hit here, and you just kind of keep them, gotta keep them consistent so that way they look real nice. Of course, you know, it's all custom. You can really do whatever you want. There's no like right or wrong way to do this, so long as you're following the basic principles of weaving, you'll be okay. But we're gonna make this one look real pretty, so we're gonna space them out evenly and perfectly. Oh yeah, this one's gonna look really nice. I can already tell. How can I tell? Once you've been doing this a while, you can just tell. I've had great days and I've had not so great days where the creativity just isn't flowing. Yeah, see, and like I said, this is now smaller than this. So I knew, even though this looked a lot smaller in the beginning, I knew this one was going to get significantly smaller. Everything bends when you pull it. Don't forget that. And we'll finish this one right here. Barrel knot it. Cool. So our triangles are done. Now we gotta fill it. I do still think that one fill line will be enough for this, just because it's so thin. So we're just gonna start here, go all the way through it, and then like right here or something. Should look really nice. And I'm just gonna make it like 1.5 times the length, maybe twice the length, to account for all the twisting and turning that we're gonna be doing. Okay, here we go. So we start here, and again, nothing is changing here. We're still doing the constrictor. With a barrel knot finish. So again, we're gonna do that double wrap, make it look nice and pretty, going toward the point. So you can see it's making this really nice pattern where it squeezes the points together. And just creates that like candy cane look. Also too, I just thought about this, but it might have looked real pretty if I actually alternated the colors on the fill. So if this line here was pink and if this line here was green, again, that's a hindsight thing. I'm not gonna undo that now. This looks pretty cool, but I think it would look cooler with the contrasting colors. But no harm. This still looks really good, really great. Keeping it nice and tight. And ending it right here with a clove and a barrel. So it looks great. Yeah, this looks really good. And then we're probably gonna do just lots of triangles here. This one will be nice because this one will actually need 2 lines of fill. So you'll get to see how that's done as well. But let's barrel this one up real quick. Cool. And let's move on. We got the last one here. We don't have to make the column here because we're, like we said, we're just going to use this one and this one. And we're going to do 2 lines of fill. And honestly, I'm kind of thinking for this one, we might try to do something cool where this is green, this is pink, and maybe this will be like a combination of green and pink or something. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna do the triangles in green, and then we'll see if I feel like I want to do the fill in pink or not. Just kind of a choice we'll make when we get there. But let's start with the green first. So let's get some green cord. We'll probably need a little bit more. So I'm gonna get 3 full ones. Also, it's not the end of the world if you have to tie knots in. So let's say you're doing your triangles and you run out of cord like right here and you still have to fill this in. You can just tie 2 pieces of cord together with like a double fisherman's or something. It adds a little knot in your system, and yeah, it looks like a little bit funky, but it's never anything to like worry too much about. It's still gonna look great. So again, nothing's changing on this part. We're still doing the constrictor hitch with the barrel. go. That barrel nice and tight there. And again, we're gonna do the same thing where we just go in between every single one here, and it's gonna look great. So here we go. So I'm gonna turn this so that I'm pulling towards me. I think it's a little bit easier if you're working with the triangles in this orientation rather than sideways like I was doing before. And it also gives you a different point of view on this camera. So let's hope we're getting good video here, because I really don't know. Also, again, we do have some air running in the background, and I hope that's not too loud. I'm hoping that with a little bit of music over this video, we can kind of hide it a little bit. I mean, I doubt we're gonna hide it perfectly, but you know, we can dream. We can sure dream. Oh yeah, this is looking great. It's looking good. Yeah, so this one will definitely need 2 fill lines, and I'm kind of thinking I want to do it in pink just to get something new. We got a little bit of full green, we got some full pink. Now I'm thinking it'd be cool if we did some green and some pink here. But let's see, let's finish these triangles before we make that decision. So I feel like I might have enough cord to run all the way across here. A little bit of a gamble, but we're gonna try. So we're gonna turn this again. And we're going to clove here so that way we can run. Oh, actually I forgot we said we were gonna use pink. Never mind. We're gonna barrel this and start with some pink. So one, I'm gonna make this one a little bit longer just because I think we are going to need it if we're gonna do 2 fill lines. So okay, first one, as usual, we are going to do, you guessed it, a constrictor knot with a barrel finish. When I first started tying constrictors like this, they took me so long to actually understand because they're so confusing. So I know I make all these knots look easy, but even I struggled with them at one point. So if you're in that struggle phase, don't get discouraged. Just keep going. So here we go. So we're gonna do one fill line here, and then I think we'll probably do the other one back this way and maybe finish it right here or something. We'll see. We'll see what the design's looking like. Oh yeah, see, I like the contrasting color a lot. Like, a lot. I think that really adds to this pattern. Otherwise, it still looks great, but I think the contrast really throws that candy cane flavor in there. Personally, at least. Oh yeah, this is looking great. And again, when I'm doing the fill, I'm keeping it nice and tight because I'm not tying any knots. So if I were to let this go, I might lose some tension up to like a couple triangles back, potentially. There's a lot of friction because we're doing a double wrap, but still, it's not like we want to lose this tension that we worked hard to keep. Oh yeah, this looks good. Really good. Now we're gonna go here. Tie a quick clove hitch there. And then we are gonna come back right here with the same piece of cord. So I actually like to break my own rule here. I know I said always go toward the point here, but if I go up toward the point right behind this one, it's just gonna look kind of weird. So I'm actually gonna be a little rule breaker here and go away from the point for this one, just to create some separation between my pinks. Now I'm gonna go back to the pattern as it should be, which means we're going toward the points. So you can see right here, because I broke my own rule, I made more like a hexagon rather than like a snowman. It kind of looks like a snowman, like a bunch of snowmen just like laying next to each other. I don't know. So I do like this pattern because it is like something very easy to get in the flow with, and you don't really have to think much because it's all like already kind of designed for you, and you just have to follow the pattern. You don't have to think like, oh, where do I need to fill, or oh, where should I go? It's literally just follow the lines. So that's kind of a cool thing about the pattern that I will admit I do enjoy, because it allows you to zone out and just flow. Very cool. And then I'm going to finish this off right here. And you guessed it, we're going to do a barrel. This one's going to be a little bit tight because there's such a small space here, but it's okay. The barrel just helps prevent these nuts from untying in the future. There we go. It's okay. I gotta cut all the ends and burn them and make them look real nice. But this is pattern number 1. If I clear the strings from the bottom here, you can see it a little more clearly. It's super nice. You got a green column, a pink column, and then a mix of both here. And it's nice and tight, as you can see. So now we're gonna move on to pattern number 2, and we're gonna make that one a nice dream catcher. So I'm gonna pause this video really quick and let's move on to a new blank slate.